I'm horrible with this. Shalise, thank you so much for being on the show. My
Okay.
co-host is not here with me today to make sure that I am in line. But thank you so much for being here. I could not get our intro to start, but welcome to the Secret to Keys to Success podcast. This is your second time joining us on our show, and the
It
first time that we
is
had you on, yeah, the first time that we had you on, I think was like a year ago. Wasn't it about a year ago, Shalise?
probably a little more than that. Yeah,
Wow. So
definitely.
I want you to kind of fill in the audience about currently what you're working on. I want to talk about the retreat. I want to talk about why you thought that this was necessary. And then I want to just kind of just dive into different ways that we could all start to rest a little bit more, whether we're going out of state, out of the country, or whether we're just going to be staying in the house. And so, Shalise Daniels, if you want to just introduce yourself, I'll let you go ahead, girl.
All right. I am Shalise Daniels, and I live in Detroit and Costa Rica. And the last time I was here on the show talking to Tilisa and Deba, it was about investing in real estate in the city of Detroit. And while I still have that business, and I've grown that business significantly from moving to Costa Rica, now I am a business coach and I specialize in the area of mindset and rest for exhausted entrepreneurs who are in or entering, trying to get into hustle culture recovery. And I do that through one on one coaching and a retreat that I'm getting ready to host. This is my inaugural retreat in Costa Rica. I plan to host more, universe, God willing. But let's see how this one goes. I think it's going to be phenomenal. When I talk about radical rest, because that's something that Talisa talked about, I'll say more as we move on, but I'm going to pause and give the host the floor.
So, Shalise, I love the fact that you're doing this retreat and some of the things that you have incorporated into the retreat. Some would say some of these activities are a little bit unorthodox, but I feel like a lot of these activities are some of the things that we do at home, like taking a twerking class. We may not be taking a twerking class, but you already know we all sitting up in our living room in our kitchen and we twerking.
Let
So,
me
I
tell
mean,
you something. When if single ladies came on right now, you everybody is getting up and moving, okay?
everybody.
Everybody. There are certain ones of those songs that come on and we can't help it. We're gonna move our bodies, even if it's in the chair. We are moving our bodies. Yes.
Yeah.
Unorthodox. Yes, I agree.
But I think it's so important that you get to incorporate that because that is a part of our culture. And I know that this specific retreat is more geared towards, African American women, Black women, and that is a part of our culture. So to have that incorporated in a retreat, it just shows how much thought you put into the experience that you wanted to curate for your clients. And so I want to talk about rest. Rest for me, and you already know, is something that is kind of taboo. I came from an environment where I've always worked really hard, and when you weren't working hard, people called you lazy. If you didn't seem like you were busy, people called you lazy. And so I think that I've made a habit of just trying to busy myself, even at times where I know like I have systems in place, I have people in place, but then I still feel like that, ooh, I feel like I should be doing something right now. But rest is something that I can insert into those moments. And so I want to just talk about what that means for you and what you teach your clients.
So much came up for me as you were talking to Lisa in terms of the unorthodox way with twerking, dancing, moving our bodies, creating this energy within our womb space, being a part of our lineage, a part of our heritage. In fact, dancing is a part of somatic healing. And especially when you're dancing in such a way that your womb is being moved around and the energy is being released there. And somatic healing, for those who may not be really familiar with the term, is when you incorporate the physical with the psychological. So it's a form of therapy that's incorporating both of those pieces. And what, as I'm learning, twerking, moving around, dancing, sensual dance, non-sensual dance, getting shaking off that energy is a part of somatic healing if you're intentional about it. The reason why this first retreat is for African American or Black women is because as I was visualizing what I wanted to happen in this retreat, Tilisa, I kept seeing me. I
Mm,
kept seeing a Black woman. As I would say, we arrive at the airport, we take the private plane over to the small town. We stop at Coco Mar for lunch. As I'm running through the day, I kept seeing me, a whole lot of me's. And when I thought about, which was okay because we do see a reflection of ourselves many times or people who look like us. When I say me, I didn't see myself. I saw me trying to be calm and wrangle everybody around, but women that looked like me.
right.
When I when I thought about um, riding the bike, I got to the part about riding the bike, and I could only see an afro or braids blowing in the wind, and I said, "This is for Black women. This inaugural retreat, this first one is for Black women." And so I everything that I crafted was around Black women. Now, when I open it up, perhaps the next one or the next one to all women to have these experiences. And I'm also thinking about doing one with men. I'm not going to be the facilitator,
Yeah.
but at least having a very strong, there are three Black men that I have in mind to have the men in this space, and I would just be like an advisor. I would, I can't tell a man anything. I'm not gonna.
I
But
love that.
coming up, let me try to cut this short. I'm just talking. Coming up, we may very well curate this event for men because they need permission to be vulnerable in a
Yes.
safe space. How many times did I hear my brother or other guys being told, "Don't cry, man up, put some dirt on it"? You need to be given permission and also to be in a space or a container so that you can let go. And I think our society will be much better. Anyway, radical rest.
But what you're saying, Shalise, is so like it's so accurate because especially like in our community, we don't we don't get a break. I'm sorry. Like there aren't any breaks. And so to be able to be in an environment where you know that you're not going to be judged for thinking this way, for thinking that rest is essential, for thinking that it's okay for men to put their guard down and to become vulnerable. Um, that's something that we haven't really had in our culture until recently.
Mhm.
Um, and I want to talk about a little bit when we talk about rest and let's say we're not able to like go on like a retreat right now, or we're not able to go on like a staycation. I know for me, it was difficult to figure out like, okay, well, what is rest? Is rest just like me taking a nap? Is rest just like me going to go get my nails done? Like, really, what is rest? And so, when you think about like rest, when you're at home, what are some of those things that you do that kind of allow you to like reset to where you can continue your workday?
I love that exploration stage that you're talking about because you just said, like, is it when I get my nails done? Is it when I go to sleep? Is it when I do this or that? Only by exploring different things will we figure out what restores us. And when I think of rest, that's the root word for restore or restoration. So when we restore ourselves back to the original state, back to our whole selves, that's when we're rested. So it could be running for you, Talisa. You're always out there working out. It could be painting that makes you feel invigorated when you're finished. right? It could be sleeping, deep rest, naps are good, reading a book where you just feel so energized when you're finished. Um, let's talk about it. What about sex? What about when we are being intimate or in that intimate way? Is that considered rest if you feel rejuvenated thereafter? I think so. I think it's a part of deep rest. It's something that we need to tap into.
And I would say just like a decompression,
Yeah.
just to be able to just decompress. For me, sometimes I have a hard time sleeping, and so sometimes it's only when I'm able to just have sex, I'm able to just rest and go to sleep. I
Yeah.
can sleep for a full 8 hours. And I know that this is a topic that many really don't like to talk about, but I want people to know that it is okay if sex is your solution to rest.
Yeah.
And understanding that that may look different for everybody, and maybe if you don't feel like that is rest right now, maybe that's something that you need to take up with your partner. But and I can't speak on that. I'm not a sex. I think you had somebody on the
I
other.
did.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up with that part because people were inboxing me and trying to figure out. And I'm like, the exploration piece is real good. Just figure out what works for you. It could be climbing a mountain, it could be the intimacy piece, it could be the nap, the painting, the reading, the writing, the singing, the dancing. And so
Yeah.
some of those things at home consist of just that. I use the Pomodoro method. Like I stick to that Pomodoro method, right? Not all day, but definitely for a good 3 hours. I'm 20 minutes in, 5 minutes off, and then I take my 20-minute break after a little over an hour. And during those breaks, like I have things, my book is downstairs. I have things sitting around that I plan for these breaks. I mean, trashy stuff like scrolling through TikTok, thinking about the last person's house who just got raided. Now, I never look at stuff like that. I never look at stuff like that. But I said, you know what? For these 5 minutes,
Girl,
TikTok is going to educate me on what and when, how did all this happen?
girl, did you see? I'm like, what is going on? There is some girl.
Also limiting myself to have that trashiness, I guess, infiltrate my mind and my body and my spirit, my space for 5 minutes
Mhm.
makes me feel good, better, as opposed to like binging, straight binging. And
Mhm.
that, go ahead.
No, I was just saying how good that is about not binging and giving yourself an allotted amount of time to be able to do whatever that thing is, whatever that
Yeah.
trashy thing is, limiting it to that 5 minute max.
Yeah.
That feels good. That feels good. That lets me know that I'm not over consuming this
Yeah.
information or this content or whatever it is. That's good. So rest can really be anything that you make of it. It's just that you have to be willing to explore different things. And I think that's where a lot of us we have like this hiccup because we try to go to those things that used to give us rest, and we're doing it and we're just feeling like this isn't really doing it. I kind of feel like this is like an obligation. I feel like I'm just kind of like in my routine. And so when we talk about like that exploration, um, what can people do? I know ChatGPT is like amazing. What can people do? Can they get on ChatGPT and say, hey, what are 15 things that I can do to rest this week? Or what
So
suggestions do you have?
I would actually steer clear of the word rest if I talk to ChatGPT because chat is programmed by a human being just like me and you. And I'm tired. Let's get out of everybody else's narratives. But if you use the word restore or energized,
Okay.
perhaps that would, in terms of what I feel is rest, once I rest, I have energy. And so restoring or something like that, if you're using ChatGPT, my friend has a book that I left downstairs. It's not in my office. And I'm looking like, oh, she has 101 ways to do self-care. Her name is Cicely Braithwaite.
Okay.
And in this book, About half of those 101 ways are 5 minutes or less.
Oh, really?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
and I feel that that is what I can buy into. That those are the kinds of things that I can explore to see what I can do in those 5 minutes. In the Pomodoro method, you do get a 20-minute break as well. And so
Okay.
you can do things on that 20-minute break. I so that talk to people, what do they do? Google what people do for fun because
Mhm.
to me that's rest.
Yeah. So, Shalice, tell us again, what was the lady's name of the book, and can we get that on Amazon?
You can get it on Amazon. Cicely, Cicely, Dr. Cicely Braithwaite, I think it's Braithwaite, but it's Brathwaite if not, if there's no I in there.
Okay. And the book is called
101 ways for self-care, I believe.
okay. Oh, that's
101 self-care is in there.
okay. So you guys look that up, and then while you're looking that up, I want you to also look up another book that is on Amazon. Shanice, let's talk about your book, Travel and Thrive. Tell the audience, what can they expect? Why do they need to get this book?
Okay. First, I'll tell you how it came to be. It's a lot of techniques that I use when I travel. In there is like what to say to build a relationship when you hate talking to strangers. So all of those tools that I use when I travel are there. That's how it came to be. And the second piece, like, what is it about? It is a journal. It's only about 18 pages worth of text. And then it's making you peel back your experiences, it's asking you journal prompts. And it's meant for when you travel. Yet, I have a friend that I talked to day before yesterday, and she was saying, I just love the daggone thing because it tells me about how my brain works and I think about all types of stuff. And I use those prompts right now today, and I use those mindfulness exercises in the back. Um, how you can benefit from it? I mean, it's good, and you're supporting the small Black owned business.
That part, that part. But and I can attest to it. The book is good. I've purchased the book. My friends have purchased the book. We used the workbook while we were traveling, and it allows you to just kind of just slow down and just be a little bit more observant when you are out traveling. There's so many aspects of culture that get added onto you every single time that you travel, and this workbook just kind of helps you compartmentalize it all, and just really be in the moment, really recognize like what is actually going on while you're traveling. And so I know that for me, that is so valuable because I can easily go on a vacation, go on a trip, and be in my room the entire time, not go to because it's like I want to rest. I want to rest, but then like the introvert part of me is like, I really don't want to go,
Yeah.
zip line, and I really don't want to go downstairs to mingle. But it's in those moments that I actually say, no, Tilisa, just go meet people. It's just like I've met business partners, I've
Yeah.
met like long-term friends. Oh my goodness. I've met some of the most amazing friends that I would have
Mhm.
never came across had I not left the United States. And so, Shalise, thank you for the book. The book it's a tool that I'm probably going to use over and over and over again. I'll tell you that much.
Awesome. So I'll say some real reasons instead of giving that really thin, superficial reason. Listen, it talks a little bit about the brain. And I was speaking with a colleague of mine, which is how this even came to be. I had written this Travel and Thrive thing, and I hadn't paid attention to the brain. And I was telling her, I'm like, hey, my amygdala is dulled because I've been in so many of these situations. And then I said my prefrontal cortex, something else. And then I said something about my olfactory cortex. And she said, have you ever researched how that translates to your business? I'm like, oh, yeah, well, my amygdala, I take all types of risks. And had I not taken this risk, whatever has been done. And she said, do you ever write about that? I'm like, no, I'm not a neurologist or anything. Her name is Zara. And she was like, Shalice, I think you're really hitting on something when you talk about the brain. I'm like, you think other people care? I just know it allows me to take more risks, right? And I know, and she was like, yes, we care. So I started looking for things that were already out there and nobody was writing about it. How the entrepreneur's brain is different, how we're wired a little different, and how what lights up what fires in our brains. So then I went and talked to my friend Mary Rinsel. She's a neurologist. And we discussed my theory on focus, on vacations, on the amygdala, on a prefrontal, olfactory. And then I started doing some research. And Talisa, these things directly are the reason why my business grew to seven figures when I went to live in a different country, when I started traveling so much.
Mm.
Understanding product development and olfactory cortex. Like, I'm like, oh, I like to eat a lot. Well, do you know what's happening, foodie? You go, it's the gustatory cortex that's being more neural. Okay, I'm gonna just say this real quick and I won't go too deep.
I
But
love it.
neural pathways are being deepened every time you're trying new food. And in those
Mm.
pathways that are being deepened because of the gustatory cortex, say that 5 times fast.
Girl, I can't even say it one time. What you mean? What?
Because those neural pathways are being deepened, you're creating also these neural highways. So think of a street and then think of how the streets are connected all throughout the brain as you have these different experiences. Your mind is able to access each of these parts of your brain easier, faster, it's more open, right? A well-driven road when you are doing things for your business. So let's say the olfactory cortex, that's smelling, if you love smells, the breeze and stuff like that, you are able to then, it's something about branding and product development in your business. If you find that that's something that you really hold on to, you love smelling the flowers or the ocean breeze and things like that. That's what I write about in the beginning of the book. And then as it goes on, the journal, it talks about your, what did you observe and how you can use that to make your business grow the way that I made mine grow. I just didn't know what the heck I was doing at the. I don't know if I can cuss on y'all show. You know that's
Girl,
my
yes, you can say whatever you like.
Jesus
Okay,
Christ. I don't
so
know. I don't want to get in trouble by Deba.
girl, you ain't about to get in trouble. So listen, so Shalise, okay, I'm so glad that you broke it down because um, first of all, this scientific part of you, this nerdy part of you, I'm loving it. Like I'm loving all of it. Girl, you're giving me like all the feels right now, but I'm glad that you were able to break it down because some of those words, when I was reading them in the book, I was just like, I can't even pronounce this. Elise is really smart. I'm gonna have to just kind of, but to break it down like that, understanding that, okay, wait a second, me going to these other places, trying this other food is actually helping my business. It's
It
helping me
is.
to be able to enter into different, like you said, pathways, like freeways to be able to get to solutions,
You got
creative
it.
thoughts, things like that. And I don't think that we ever think about that. I mean, I know that for me, I love to eat, but I'm also one of those people that I always try to go to the same place. I try the same thing that I know is good, but it's
Mhm.
like, no, Talisa, start trying some of these new things. Like your business, like is depending on it right
It
now.
is like my business depends on me trying this new churro. I need that new flavor of ice cream. My business is depending on it.
No,
Um,
but seriously though, that is so cool. So Shalise, tell the audience where can they get the book? What is the book called again? And yeah, go ahead and tell them that. And then we'll
okay, so you can get the book on Amazon. It's called Travel and Thrive for Entrepreneurs Exhausted and in Hustle Culture Recovery. You
that
can get
be
it
me.
on Amazon.
That be me.
Hustle culture recovery. I talked a little bit about how like sometimes we want to be in recovery, we want to shoot off to a retreat, and we can't. We have to create those environments at home. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Talisa. That needs to be created, recreated at home until we can exercise that muscle of letting go of our business. putting it over to the side so that we can up and get and remove ourselves from our business for 6 days.
Yeah. Um, so for those of us who can't go on like a retreat, and they don't have a whole lot of money,
Mhm.
there are things that you can do simply in the house that we mentioned. We mentioned dancing. Turn on
Mhm.
some music.
Mhm.
Turn on your favorite radio station and just dance. We mentioned sex. If you have a significant other or a partner, tell them what to do, what it is. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know how else to,
Your
but
sigma, whatever that thing is. Yeah, get them prepared. You said something about music. How fun is it for you to explore new and different music while you build a playlist?
ooh,
That happening is a part of pleasure. I interchange like the whole joy, pleasure, rest, all that to me is all delicious. It's all good. And so taking the time to build your playlist is important. So you'll know like what feels good. What do I want to listen to during my break? So maybe one of your breaks is picking 5 songs to go on your rest playlist, and the other break is listening to your rest playlist.
ooh, Shalice, you are so good. I promise. Okay, so you remember that one thing that you sent me on Spotify? It was
Oh yes,
oh
yes.
yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So so the audience knows it was prayers for the entrepreneurial women. Is that
It
okay?
was something like that, but it was affirmations.
Yes, yes. Okay, so I clicked on it and I would clicked on it while I was at the gym. And after that song played, it started playing like other songs like that were related to it. And like when I tell you just like the discovery of like new music, because I tell y'all, I'm the type of person, I go to the same restaurant, I listen to the same music. Like I will play something out, I will wear out a pair of shoes, something is wrong with me. But like I was listening to all these other songs and it was just such an exciting experience. Like you said, like that deliciousness, like that discovery of new music. But then it's like, okay, once you start getting, burnt out or you start out playing that music, it's important to continue to go on that adventure of finding new music because like you said, it's like this new excitement that just like rises up in you. But the fact that you're able to identify that, Shalice, and you can put words to it, like we're all feeling this already, just don't really know how to like communicate or even if it's something worth communicating, but obviously it is.
So another thing that you can do very similar to the music is I have a pleasure photo album, and it's pictures of me, my grandcat. I got a grandcat, y'all. Imagine that. Me, my grandcat, my daughter, my son, my nieces, nephews, husband, the mountain. Like what it does is it takes my mind right back to that moment when that thing was occurring. And that's the natural pleasure that you're tapping into in your body. And I love it. I love that being able to access that when I say I want this feeling, not climbing that damn mountain again, but being
Right.
able to access that same feeling through the pictures that I took on demand. I mean,
Yes.
how much better does that get?
It doesn't get any better than that. I found myself scrolling through some old pictures of the kids when they were little. Girl, you
Mm.
know how
I
these
know how
kids,
you are.
girl,
Yeah, I love it.
a hot
Yeah.
mess. Didn't know what to do. I guess I just thought the kids was gonna be little their whole
Yeah,
life.
forever. Mm-mm.
Anyways, delusional, girl, completely delusional.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just flipping through those pictures, it brings like a whole it just brings like a whole sentimental like energy and it just kind of puts
So
you right back in that moment. And so this is so important, you guys. There's so many ways to rest. Like we have to get away from the traditional ways that we think rest is supposed to happen and start discovering some new ways and really start paying attention to ourselves and our bodies when we do try something new or when we do see something new. Like acknowledge that feeling, sit in that feeling, enjoy that. Like what did Shirley say? That deliciousness. I think too many times we're just like, oh, that feels good, and then we're like, okay, back to it. But it's
yeah.
just like, no, 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 no. Wait a second now. let me let me enjoy this. Let me sit in this for a couple minutes.
There's a so I got two more things. One, there's chemicals that you're tapping into when you're looking at your kids. I haven't studied that, but I know it's either oxytocin, like the love drug, or dopamine, and I don't know which one it is. But when we are looking at those memories, we're tapping into that. You saying that made me wanna, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna research that now, those actual chemicals. And the second thing is, y'all, when we are silent, whether it's, we didn't talk about meditation, but when you're meditating, when you're silent, when you are in a deep restorative mode of stillness, be it putting together a puzzle or whatever the thing of meditation may be, you're tapping into your parasympathetic nervous system, and we call it PNS. When you tap into your parasympathetic nervous system, when you exercise that system of spiny nerves that you have running all up through your body, what you're doing is you're allowing your body to, if you believe in this, you're opening your body to listen to your intuition. And many of us entrepreneurs, you know what rules our intuition told us to start this damn business,
Yeah.
told us that this was going to work, told us that we needed to go here, told us that we needed to get our asses out of that bed, Tilisa, and go down to that networking event. If
Yep.
you tune in enough to that intuition and you listen, but you got to get still, you got to restore.
Ooh, because if you don't get still, you will not be able to listen.
You'll miss it.
You'll miss it, and it's so valuable. Like it be, Shalise, I know exactly what you're talking about. It will literally be key information that I need to like take my business to the next level. And it kind of feels like, to me, it kind of feels like a download. Like,
Yes, that's it. That's it.
yeah,
That's what every download.
okay, that's exactly what it feels like. So for those of you who may not have experienced it, like, you know your thoughts, and then you know thoughts that are like, these ain't mine. This came from someone else. This is too good. I came up with this.
I'm not that smart.
I'm not
I'm not
I'm
that
not
smart.
that smart. I'm just gonna be honest. And so, but it does, it requires you to be still and be silent. And it's like, in the moment that you get that voice or that intuition, it's like you have to act on it. You have to harness
Mhm.
it, you have to act on it, because if you don't, in my experience, if it comes and I don't act on it, I don't write it down or whatever it is, I'll lose it every
And
single
so the that intuitive sense that you're talking about, for some people it's a thought, for some people it's a voice. Like one of my friends, she literally hears the voice and it's not hers. And for some people it's a feeling. I get a
time.
feeling and I don't even know, like sometimes I'm like, I feel like I need to walk this way, or I feel like I need to drive this way as opposed to that way. And sometimes you never know what was on the other side. Be okay with that.
Whew, be okay with
Be
that.
okay with that. Just do what the hell it says. Whatever the download, just do what it says. Be okay with not knowing what was on the other way. Just do. Trust yourself.
Ooh, that is so big. Trust yourself. In a world where we hear so many opinions and everybody has their own way of doing things, just trust yourself. How much easier is it to know that I don't really have to listen to everything that else is that's going on? I just have to tune into that voice that's inside of me. That's it. Because this is the most accurate, like,
Yeah.
navigation tool any of us can have.
The way that I see that. The way that I see that, Talisa, the accuracy, the
Girl.
way that I see that is whatever you have asked for, whatever, the universe is conspiring to bring that to you in the quickest, easiest way. And when you trust and listen to yourself, to those downloads, that's what you're getting, what you asked for.
Every single time, and it be to the T. And don't get weirded out when things start happening exactly the way that you envisioned it, or exactly the way that you saw it in your meditation session, or exactly the way that you felt it. Don't be surprised. Allow it to continue to come to you. Shalise, this is amazing. This was amazing.
Thank
Tell the
you.
people, if they want to join this retreat, how many more days do they have? I know there's like,
Oh, how many more days? Y'all got 5 days.
5 days. 5 days.
I'm coming up with an arbitrary number. Listen, I got 2 more slots, seriously. And since we have a private plane, I have to let the manifest know we're going on the 9th. It really is. It's April 1st. I have to let them know within 7 days. So April 1st is the day, April Fool's Day, right? That I would need to let them know because they have to tell the FAA, whatever the regulations are, right? I'm not that smart. So whatever those regulations are, they need to have our passport information. You can go to liveasif.co. And you can find more information. You can also follow me if you want at Coach Shalise D everywhere, like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just put in at Coach Shalise D and you should see me somewhere in these streets.
You will see her in these internet streets, y'all. If this is you, y'all sign up. She said she got 2 spots left. They need to make sure that all the logistics are good so that y'all can actually get on the plane and get there. Shalise, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for putting your time and energy into curating something so special for us. And I know that there's going to be other retreats and events that, cater towards everybody, but we appreciate you, catering this one towards the ladies that look like us. So any final words before I try to get us out of here by pressing the outro song? If it doesn't happen, Deba will forgive me. She gives me a lot of grace and I love her for that.
Final words. Tilisa, I love you so much. You are one of those women that are going to be in my book, that final book. That memoir of one of the people that inspired me tremendously, especially being a young woman and really making things happen, remembering the version of Tilisa that I met versus the version of Tilisa now versus the evolving Tilisa. So y'all are lucky to have this lady come on here, and Deba too. I've talked to her and talk to you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, don't be making me get all emotional. Dang, what you trying to do? I love you too, Shalise. Thank you, girl. Your words you already know they're invaluable.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So I'm going to click this outro. I think it's information that you need if you want to listen to the next show. We love you and we will see you next week. Bye. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Keys to Success podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and you want to listen to more, be sure to subscribe to Apple Podcast and YouTube for our latest episodes. Check out our show notes for more information on mentorship, private money lending, or if you just want to be a guest on our podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.
Oh, let me get out.